Marathon is not what you think. Hello and welcome to the channel. So I've played this game for 10 hours. I am not an extraction shooter player. I don't play Tarkov, I don't play The Hunt or any of those games. I think this game is designed for me. It is clearly built to get people who don't play extraction shooters to come along and give this a try. Maybe your Apex Legends players, your COD players, your Overwatch players, whatever. You want to get them in and see if they stick to this game. Now, I feel this game, there is something here. There definitely is something here. Like, I've noticed time flying by when I'm playing this game. I'm like, wow, I've been playing this for like 3 hours in a single session. What's going on? I really enjoy the aesthetic. I really enjoy the art direction. I think all of this it's really good to see in this day and age. There are pros and cons though, and I feel at the moment, if the game was to launch in a state anywhere close to this state, I don't think it would have a very good time. This is obviously alpha, so it's the alpha, well, an early alpha. They'll be able to make changes, gameplay changes, of which we're already seeing gameplay changes take place. One notable one is when you get killed, so if you get knocked down and then you get killed, if you were revived with full health. That's no longer the case. You're only revived with 30% of your health, which is a good change. So they are making fast changes. So yeah, it's alpha. A lot of things can change. But I'm just going to break down the pros and cons here because this is a very interesting game, which is kind of a cop-out to say, oh, something's interesting. Because what does that mean? I think it's very... it can be something more than it is, and I think they've got a very good foundation. So let's break this down. I think we need to start with the elephant in the room, and that is aim assist. Now, Bungie have said the aim assist, the bullet magnetism, those types of options are very strong at the moment, and they are going to look at tuning them down. Does this belong in a competitive PC shooter? Well, I mean, I'm old school, so I'm just going to say no, it absolutely doesn't. You do not want aim assist, aim bot of any description in a competitive game. For me, it's quite jarring. It takes away from the experience. Now, it looks like what's going on is this will be a component in the game. It will probably be tuned down, so it's not as crazy as it is at the moment. But it's almost like a way to bridge the disparity in gameplay between controller and PC. So if you've got keyboard and mouse and you've got controller, you've both got the same bullet magnetism, aim assist going on, then the playing field is arguably level. The problem with this is it takes away a skill element from the game. Now, aiming is not just about locking onto your target fast and shooting them. It's about aiming at various parts of the body. So you'd be looking for headshots more than body shots, right? So if you could quickly snap onto a headshot and bang, that's probably going to benefit you if you don't have bullet magnetism and aim assist, which might mess up with your aim. What I've noticed is in the game at the moment, it tends to lock onto the center mass. This is, again, is an issue. Like, I think you need to really look at reducing this, Bungie. But has this stopped me playing the game? You know, this is the other... If I play devil's advocate with myself, has it stopped me playing the game? It's annoying, but I've still been playing the game. You know, it wasn't annoying to the point I was like, this is just unplayable, I'm not going to play. I was like, well, okay, it's the same for everyone, so I can accept this. Maybe this emphasizes a little bit more strategic positioning and ability usage rather than just shooting people. But I'll tell you this right now, guys, it doesn't feel great when people are just locking onto you and shooting you. It might feel okay when you're doing it to other people, but it doesn't feel great. But Bungie are looking at this, so will it change? Probably. Will it be deleted from the game? I don't know. Probably not. So let's begin with what's good, and then we'll get on to, I guess, the bad points at the moment. So I think, firstly, the POI design and just the overall atmosphere of the game is really well made. Interiors in this game are insane. It's like Mirror's Edge visuals on absolute steroids. They look great. Exteriors, not the best, but interiors look really good. And you can see, like, if the game was almost fully based inside the Marathon ship, which I believe is coming as another map, I think the reaction would be completely different straight away. It's like, it's phenomenal. I don't think there's anything else out there that even comes close to this. It's really, really well. It almost feels real in like this surreal kind of way. You look at environments and you think, this looks like a real environment, and then, no, then you see it and you think, actually, no, it is like this graphic sort of realism. It's really cool. Basically, it's really good. The strongest aspect of the game is the art design by absolute miles, right? Following on from that as well, I think every location does feel pretty different and pretty unique. You've got like abandoned labs, you've got this massive crawler walker thing called the Hauler, which you can run through, and it does feel like a massive walker. Would be cool if it moved. I think that would be like a way of like leveling up the experience, I suppose. Yeah, it's just very distinctive. I think a lot of the underground areas are really good, like when you're going through tunnels, when you're going through like sewerage systems and like abandoned caves or whatever. They look really good, right? It looks super cool. Even elements outside look pretty cool as well, when you've got like massive draped bits of like it looks like tarpaulin or plastic, or tarpaulin I should say, or plastic over like the side of a mountain. It looks really cool. Like that kind of stuff is pretty cool. So I do think it does feel distinct. I feel the locations all feel sort of different enough from each other. Like there's one location, I forget the name of it, but it's almost like a big battery storage area. It's really cool. Like they all feel slightly different enough to make them, you know, a fun place to fight over. So I think there's a lot of positives with the gunplay. Now, obviously, ignoring the aimbot and the bullet magnetism, they feel good to use. They feel like they've got a very strong weight to them when you fire. They all, like the animations look great. The reload animations look great. I think some of the visuals can look a little bit like, whoa, what's going on here? Especially with the snipers, especially with like the big long range scopes. They look really strange, just have like a big square on top of the weapon. But again, that's the art direction of the game. Everything is like a square or a rectangle with a like a high definition decal, because that makes it futuristic, right? But yeah, I do think overall they do feel good. They do sound good. It feels great to shoot people with the weapons. There are some issues with time to kill, which we'll get onto in a second. But I do think overall the weapons are pretty good. And you would expect this, right? It's Bungie. They know what they're doing when it comes to weapons. I think there's quite a good amount of weapon variety in the alpha at the moment as well. So one thing I would say, though, is the sniper rifles seem very strong. It's almost like you always want to take a sniper with you, because if you notice people at range, it does give you that ability to knock somebody really fast, and then your team can take a 3v2, for example. You could argue against this and say maybe you want to take a shotgun and a submachine gun for close range engagements and whatnot. This could just be because the maps, when you're taking the fights outside, they are very long range, and the sniper rifles feel very powerful. So maybe take that with a pinch of salt. But the fact I want to make, or the point I want to make, is the fact that you do have sniper rifles, shotguns, SMGs, machine guns, well, light machine guns, assault rifles, pistols, like energy-based weapons, railguns. So there's quite a lot of variety already with the weapons, and I think that's good. And it kind of gives me hope that we're going to see more of that. And again, this is Bungie, right? They make Destiny. They should know what they're doing when it comes to weapon variety. The hero design, or, well, I suppose the runner design in this game. So this was controversial to begin with. We don't want heroes in a extraction shooter. I mean, obviously, I like Overwatch, I like Rivals, I like hero shooters. So to me, I wasn't too fussed about this. Being able to make your own unique character would have been pretty cool. But the way this game works is it's almost like about readability, right? So if you pick Void, if you pick Void, you've got a certain playstyle that you're going to play, right? Which is you can escape engagements with your stealth. If things go bad, you can run away. Or you can start engagements with yourself. You can throw down your big smoke ultimate to protect an area, or maybe during extraction to get out. You can use your slam, where you drop from a high ground to slam down to the low ground, and you get a brief invisibility. Or you can use running in and out of smoke grenades to trigger your short-term invisibility to maybe get away. So if you see a Void, you know what Void is going to do. Whereas if you had, like, I don't know, a character creator and you didn't actually know what the characters could do, and you could interchange your abilities, it would affect the readability of a fight. You wouldn't actually necessarily know what people were going to do. Now, you could argue that that's great for a hardcore extraction shooter, but for this type of game, I actually think the heroes work quite well. And talking of all the heroes themselves, I think they're all unique enough. The one I've played the most is Void, and then probably I'd probably say, and then Blackbird probably. Everybody seems to play Blackbird because Blackbird has got the scan where you can see where enemy players are, which obviously is really strong if you're in close quarters and you want to find out where the enemy is, or you've just, maybe you're being attacked by an enemy group, you don't know where they are. It's obviously short range, but if they're close enough, you'll be able to detect them. There are items you can get which will reduce the amount of time you're detected and can mess up your detection signal and things like that. So there are ways of kind of playing around it. But yeah, I think they're all unique enough, to be honest, and I think that's fine. So I don't think this is an issue with the game. And I think that, like, going further down the line, when they add more runners, I think it's going to be a great way to sort of expand the game. And no doubt some runners that get added probably will just be insane and broken, and everybody will play them. Maps. I actually think the maps are a really strong positive for the game. So you've got two at the moment, Perimeter and Dire Marsh. Now, Perimeter feels like a bigger map. It feels like a map where you don't necessarily get involved in too many player versus player encounters. You'll get them, but it seems you get more of them on Dire Marsh, which for whatever reason feels closer, feels like it's easier to spot enemies, whereas that's a little bit more difficult on Perimeter. It's still possible on both maps, but I think they work really well. I don't feel like there's nothing to do on the maps. I always feel like there's something to go towards. If you're at a point of interest, maybe you complete an event and you think, okay, well, what's that over there? And you want to go over there. Oh, something is triggered. I'm going to go over here and do that kind of thing. So I think there's always something to do in the map. I've never felt like the map design has been boring or it's kind of a chore to run through the map. Actually, they feel quite good. So I can't wait to see what the other maps look like, especially the marathon map. I can't wait to see what that looks like, because obviously it's all going to be interior design. And I think that's where this game really shines when it comes to its world building. So the POIs themselves, actually, originally I was like, these are really simple. So you see a common one where you click on the sort of master security terminal and it gives you a number. And this number is displayed to your team on the HUD, and then you need to find the corresponding terminal and turn it on to trigger the event, which will bring a loot drop basically to the area, and then you go and get the loot drop. It's very simplistic, and at first I was like, this is kind of crap. Like, we're just clicking on a terminal, then looking for a terminal with the right number, and there's maybe 5 or 6 terminals in the area. And of course, if you get the wrong one, alarms and sirens go off and you need to start again. So it's obvious someone is doing this event. You can hear the stuff going off and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to come over and maybe look for a fight, then this is the thing to look for. But I think that's why it's so simple, because if it was more complex and you were doing something, you know, messing about on computers, trying to crack codes or whatever, you could easily be killed. Whereas with this, it's you're clicking on a terminal, then you're off to try and find another terminal, then you click on the terminal, and that's it. So I think it's a gameplay design in which they don't want you spending too much time looking at terminals. They want you actually trying to get the loot, but understanding that this is going to attract other players to the area. And that's going to be an issue. Now, I also want to keep on the discussion on the POIs, because this is the gameplay flow. This is the way it works. You go to a POI and you complete an event and you get loot. And while you're doing it, various visual signals are sent off across the map, which says, hey, something's going on. So if you do the loot drop events where you run up to a terminal and you activate it and you wait for this drop ship to come down from space with like a bunch of loot boxes on it, it has this massive blue effect, this big blue beam into the sky, massive sort of area beam thing comes down. If you're playing on the map and you notice these going on, you can head towards them and try and kill that group who have started that event, and it's a signal to get over there and do that, and you could totally play the game that way if you wanted to. But again, what I've noticed is, obviously it's alpha, it's early gameplay. Generally, you start near a POI, you go to the POI, you generally don't see other players at that POI. Sometimes you might, but generally you don't. You complete that, and then you're looking for extraction. And on your way to extraction, you might find maybe a little sort of almost like side quest you can do, or side event, or you have a bit of a fight with somebody and then you extract. That tends to be the gameplay flow I've seen at the moment. But again, like I said, it's early days. But I do think the POIs are quite good, because it gives you a point to go down and do something. Whereas I think like my very surface level knowledge of other extraction shooters is you don't necessarily have that. You're just sort of in the world and you're going around doing, you know, trying to find loot, being careful not to find other players, or maybe trying to find other players to kill. But you're not necessarily running to an area and it's like massive alarms are going off, like, oh my god, there's somebody over there, get over there and fight them kind of thing. So I actually quite like it. I think it's okay. But I can understand players might say, well, no, this is, I don't really want that type of experience. But like I said at the top of the video, remember, this is kind of like, well, it's like your first extraction shooter experience if you've never played an extraction shooter before. So I think it works fine. So this is a pro and a con. The team play in the game is great, obviously. If your team are all together, working together, you feel like an unstoppable force. When you're pushing enemy players together, when you're using your abilities in concert, it's really good. Now, this is the only way to play the game. So I guess this leads into the first negative, which is you can only play with 3, well, in a group of 3. So you can queue solo, but you are queuing into groups of 3. You are not in a true solo queue. I would be a big proponent of adding a solo queue to the game because it would feel fair. It would feel like I'm on my own. I know if I take a fight, it's just against one person. If I beat them, that's great. Yeah, there might be other players running around and whatever. But if I go in solo right now and I see somebody, it's more often than not they're going to be in a group of 3, and it's going to be very difficult to, well, beat a group of 3 because you can kill one person maybe, but as soon as you start firing, it's obvious where you are. They're going to try and find you, and it's going to be extremely difficult to do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be extremely difficult to do it. Now, when you queue, it will just add you with random runners. Now, obviously, if you've got friends, you can add them and play together, but if you don't have friends, you're just relying on those runners actually wanting to play the same way that you want to play. So you may have a contract which says go to a certain POI and get kills, but that might be the other side of the map. Your teammates might have a contract which says do something different, so they're going to go and do something else. So when you spawn, I've noticed this a few times, but players just run off to go and do whatever they want to do, and it's like, okay, we've now got 2 players and that one player's on their own. So again, if we come over a team or come against a team, they're just going to kill us because they're going to have 1 extra player. So it's a bit of an issue at the moment, the coordination and the reason for players being together in a team isn't made clear. Like, if you could join a queue which said, hey, I'm working for, I don't know, Traxxas, and we're going to go and do whatever contract, and everyone's got the same contract, it would make sense. It probably would increase queue times, obviously, but at the moment, it's like, I don't know what other people are doing, and it's just every man for themselves, it feels like sometimes. And also, you also need to stay near your team if you want to survive. So if you're in a group of 3, you should not just run off and try and complete something, because if you get killed and down, or if you get downed and then killed, it's very unlikely your team are actually going to get you back for that play session. And also, the 2 players in your team, well, they are going to be at a massive disadvantage if they come across a full team to fight. And this leads me on to the next negative, the time to kill. It's very long, very, very long. Now, you can get items that augment your shield, so you can have more shield. Obviously, there's abilities like Locust has got a shield where he can bring that up and it absorbs loads of damage. So obviously, he can just take more damage anyway. When this breaks out into a fight, you will empty an entire magazine into somebody with like an assault rifle. You might down them, but it shows where you are. You very rarely will just kill them. You'll down them, and their teammates will then look to where you're firing and shoot at you. At this moment in time, you're either reloading, so you're going to get hammered, or you're trying to run away. And what this actually, it kind of does is, the fights are just breaking out into, you're peeking at people, trying to unload an entire clip into them to knock them down, and then they're going to be shooting you as well, and you want to hope that you manage to start firing at them first. Then you sort of back away, recharge your shields. But while this is happening, that person who's been down is probably getting picked back up again, and they're starting to recharge, and their team's keeping them, I guess, protected. And you're hoping your team continues the engagement. I just think it's too long. Like, if you're caught out, and I mean fully caught out, like this happens quite a bit, like you can get the jump on someone, you should be able to just kill them, and I mean instantly kill them, right? You should be able to just shoot them in the head and they're dead, right? There's no way they should be surviving that. But I don't think you even get headshot damage when you've got shields active, so you've still got to burn through the shields, at which point they're going to turn around and start shooting back at you. So it creates this like really weird dynamic. This is why I think the long shot, so the sniper rifle, is quite powerful, especially in the open, because if you see a group of people running, you can track them, bang one shot, bang another shot, like drop them on the deck, and then start shooting somebody else. And because they're in the open, the teammates are not going to hang around and come back and try and res them, because while they're in their open, you're just going to shoot them again. So yeah, I think that's why that's just so powerful. So time to kill is weird. I don't feel like it's really rewarding you at the moment for getting the jump on someone. It's just sort of like, it's way too long. Right, the outdoor areas. So like I said, the indoor areas are really good, but the outdoor areas, and what I mean by this is I don't mean the POIs themselves. So like if you go to like security, or I think is one called signal, whatever. If you go to like or the hauler, they look really good on the map, right? But the actual transition between the POIs, it's fine in terms of map design. So the way the flow of the map is built, the way that you've got cover to move around, you're not just like in a massive open area. That's good, but the visuals are really low rent. I don't think the marathon art style translates very well into the visuals of the trees of the foliage. It doesn't look very good. Now, again, it's alpha, so this could change. They could upgrade this stuff and make it look better. But if you had to compare interiors to exteriors in this game, the interiors are so far and away better. It's just not even a comparison. I even think if the game was fully inside, people would have been like completely floored by its visuals, because some of the visuals are just bonkers. The lighting looks great, the textures, everything looks fantastic inside. The game forces team play. I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier on in the video, but I want to sort of expand on this, because what is an extraction shooter? It's a highly tense game of collecting loot, and the stakes are getting more and more, you know, they're getting higher. It's getting more tense as the game goes on, as you're leading up to that crescendo of the extraction. I don't feel like you get that in this game. I feel like you go into the game and you hope that your team want to play with you, and if they do, and you go to the same POI, then it's okay. We start fighting against the bots in that area. You start doing whatever event in that area. And then it's like, okay, I hope no one hears us or no one comes over here, because if they're going to start attacking us, they might have an advantage because we're messing around at this POI. But the forced team play element is you just have to do what your team is doing. You cannot go off and do something else. You can't say, today my experience is going to be I'm playing solo, and I'm going to play as a, let's say I'm playing Void, I'm just going to, I don't know, like Rat or something, right? I'm just going to hide. And I'm going to wait for people to get to an area, and I'm just going to start, like, methodically taking them out with my sniper rifle. You can't do that in this game. Even if you get the jump and you hit someone, and then you hit them again and you down them, the team are not going to be, you're basically not going to be able to kill their team unless they then come out and stand out in the open. Whereas maybe the fantasy some people were looking for, and this is what I was sort of hoping for, but maybe this is too far in the sort of extreme hardcore end of the spectrum. But I mean, if I'm hitting you with a sniper rifle, I'm expecting you to get dropped straight away. If it's a headshot, you should be down. So if I could go bang, 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 3 headshots, I've killed your team. That'd feel sick. Like, wow, I've punished those guys because they're out in the open. But I guess the negative to that is, well, they've just got no way to react. If they're just getting shot and they're down, like, what's going on? But then I guess the reaction to that negative would be, well, they shouldn't be running in the open anyway, right? I don't know. Like, so there's all this sort of back and forth. But basically, right now, you are forced to play in a team structure. And the developers have said they're not looking at solos. They are looking at pushing forward the 3-player squads. And that's just going to be the game for the foreseeable future. And we're just going to have to deal with it. Also, obviously, this means if you're playing on your own, you're just at a massive disadvantage. Again, I've touched on that in the video. Loot. So I think, can I say, I'm gonna put this as an overall negative at the moment. The loot experience doesn't feel very good. There's a lot of loot, but it just feels like, okay, everything's for some sort of upgrade. Everything is maybe a bit too big to carry in your backpack. I know that's part of the game. You need to be able to manage your backpack in your inventory, but like, some of the upgrade items take up a ton of space, and then you've got problems in your vault. I'll show you in a second with the whole vault upgrade path in the game and the contract system. But I think the loot at the moment is a little bit anticlimactic. Like, it doesn't feel like, oh wow, I've got some absolutely insane item. This is like, I can't believe it. It's awesome. And then you're going to treasure it. It just feels like, yeah, I've got another AR, or I've got another pistol or another sniper, and it don't really feel that much different. I know you can augment them with weapon mods, but again, it doesn't feel like you've got some like insane holy grail. The one thing I will say about the loot is the modules and the upgrades for the character on the loadout screen, they to me feel more impactful than actual weapon upgrades. So I've got one at the moment which gives me more recharge rate on my tactical ability. In fact, I'll show you this in a second, but I think that's really cool. So yeah, let's just go over and take a look at the progression and all of that stuff. So let's talk progression and upgrades. Now, just to give you some context, I've currently got 10 hours of gameplay in Marathon on my level 17 account. I'm just going to show you the current state of my vault and the upgrade path that I'm sort of forced to go down. And again, this ties into the reason to play the game, is to upgrade your character with different upgrades from the various sponsors and the various contracts that you take out. But I'll explain that. So this currently here is my loadout, right? Bunch of weapons, bunch of equipment. This is my backpack. I actually have a really good backpack at the moment because this gives me additional slots. So this is really good, provided I don't get killed. Obviously, I can loot a lot of stuff in whatever mission. But this is what I want to show you, right? So the vault, my vault is full, and I'm finding it very difficult to actually sell this stuff because this stuff is required for upgrades. You'll see titanium rods, cyber acme upgrades, new caloric vendor unlocks, and Traxxas vendor unlocks. So I need this. I don't really want to sell this, but look, it takes up quite a bit of space. And then you end up with a bunch of items that all do similar things, like you need them for upgrades. Now, like I said, I've got like 3 empty slots here in my inventory. Now, all of this is additional inventory space. It's not available because you unlock it through upgrades. So let me show you that, because this is where I think, yeah, it's a little bit of an issue at the moment. So I've got 3 corporations unlocked. So Cyber Acme, I'm level 2 with these guys at the moment. And if I show you the upgrades, you'll see this one here, Cyber Acme Expansion, is actually incredible. This gives you 8 rows of vault capacity. And I don't have this unlocked. Remember, I've got like 10 hours of gameplay. Now remember, things like loot drop rates and where the loot is, this is alpha, so this will all change. But you basically really want this like straight away, because you want the added vault space so you can loot stuff and keep it and not have to sell it, because you need to keep the gear, especially the rare stuff, for upgrades like those purple items I had. So to upgrade this, I need 12 microprocessors. I've only got 7. So in 10 hours of gameplay, I haven't been able to actually find 12 of these. These should be a bit more, I think, readily available, because you need this upgrade. And then obviously this goes further down the list. So now I'd need synthetic rubber and aluminium rods, of which I've got 6 of at the moment, although I think they take up quite a bit of space in the inventory. And then finally, look at this. I've got 1 lab of 0 gel, I'm going to call that, but I need 6. So you can see I'm collecting stuff for higher upgrades, but I still don't have this. Now, this could just be down to my luck or whatever. Now, the other thing with upgrades is I'm going to show you Traxxas, because there's some upgrades here which you're just going to be straight better with these upgrades in a lot of ways. So I want to show you this one first. It's the Traxxas heat sink. So this increases your heat capacity by 5. Now, what this means is you can sprint longer, and you can slide and then sprint for a bit sort of longer before you hit your heat limit. If we go through some of these though, you see shielded. So this unlocks purchasing advanced or enhanced, I should say, shield implants in the black market, which gives you +1 shield, which is good because obviously you've got an extra shield barrier. But obviously, like I said, going through this, you can see heatsink. And another one I want to show you here is this, the loot box locator, because this is, again, it's going to sort of fast track your way to finding better loot and being more efficient. Picking up a locked container key pings locked containers nearby. So if you find a container key, you will then find the containers because it will ping them nearby, so you can go straight to them and loot. Whereas sometimes you might get the key and not be able to find that container. Now, maybe as time goes on, these containers will be in known locations and you'll find them. But essentially, after my 10 hours of play, this is the situation we're in with upgrades. So basically, you pick a company to work for, you pick their upgrades. Maybe you like, I don't know, new caloric, and you're thinking, okay, I want to get this because this is going to give me extra, well, I can purchase a backpack for every run, which could be quite beneficial. You can see I can actually afford this. I've got enough of the, oh no, sorry, I don't have storage drive to do it. But I don't have any rep with these guys because I've not been completing the contracts. So if I complete the contracts, then this is going to give me rep, right? And the priority contracts generally give you more from what I understand. But these guys, it's simple. Look, download geological survey and overflow on perimeter. So that's the map. Go to the point overflow, download the survey. You'll get the reward and it'll start leveling up your rep with this faction. You can also level up your rep as well by just straight up being like having an active contract and killing stuff. From what I've noticed, just gives you rep. The reason why I've got Traxxas is not for any particular reason, to be honest. It just looked cool. So I was like, okay, give me Traxxas. Yeah, it's got some decent upgrades. Like the ping duration is pretty good. And obviously, when this is maximized, oh well, firewall reduces the duration of status effects on use. That's pretty good. That's also doing that. Tactical amp is tactical ability recharge rate by +10%. And you can sort of see like how these like link together, right? So this one here, the tactical ability recharge +10%. If I show you my character now, you'll see that I've actually got a really good item here which does this as well. So look at this. Energy harvesting version 4, tactical ability recovery +20. So this means I'm getting my attack ability back really quick. So if I had that upgrade as well, I'd be getting it back even faster. It's going to make you a lot more effective. So basically, once you've got the upgrades, it makes you a much stronger character, and you'll be able to buy better stuff immediately out of the black market. Like you see, I can buy the Magnum, which is a really good weapon because this does a ton of damage per hit. It's like really, really strong. But I think, yeah, there just needs to be a rebalance here with the vault space, with the rate at which you get loot items. Again, this could just be loot items for upgrades, that is. This could be a me issue, but I feel like I've been seeing a lot of people, especially people I know playing the game, talking about this as well, saying, I'm just not finding the upgrades, and what it's actually finding the items to upgrade the vault, and what it's forcing me to do is go, I'm going to need to sell this stuff, but I want to keep this stuff because look, this is for upgrades, this is for upgrades, this is for upgrades, that is the microprocessor, this is for upgrades. Like, I don't want to get rid of this stuff, it's for upgrades, it's for upgrades, you know. So it's an issue. I think another way around this would be having containers unlockable. So let's say you could get a resource like an upgrade resource container and put that into your vault, and it gives you like an additional 100 slots or whatever just to throw in this stuff. I think that would be better. I understand what they're going for with the inventory management aspect, but I think this is just crap. This is just like pointlessly taking up space in your inventory for no reason. I don't want to sell this because I've got these from either high-level PvE mobs, or we've got them from events, or maybe I've looted them off other players, but I definitely don't want to sell them. And I feel like the game's making me sell them, and also they're not worth a lot either. So like 900, this one's okay, I guess, the synchronizer. But again, like, you know, so this is required for Cyber Acme upgrades and Traxxas new caloric and Mida vendor unlock. So if we go for let's go for Cyber Acme, just for argument's sake, and we'll take a look at their I guess some of their final upgrades. So it's not this Cyber Acme optimization. That doesn't require it. That doesn't. That doesn't. That doesn't. Okay, so I'm not again, like, I'm not entirely sure then what these are used for. Maybe therefore I get through this tier of upgrades. See, this is 1 of 18. The optimization. Maybe it's a case of this. AI integration group now offers 2 items to sell in the black market. Unlock second offer from AI iteration group. So I don't know. Maybe this progresses down that path. But yeah, I think overall it's okay, but I think it does need a bit of work because it's really sending me wild, the inventory management. So Marathon really isn't what you think it would be, and I think this is like, if I was to put my final thoughts together, I feel like the art design and the aesthetic is incredible. I know this might not be everyone's cup of tea, but to me, it's right up my alley. It's like Mirror's Edge meets Blade Runner meets, you know, insert any kind of like dystopian, futuristic, sci-fi kind of aesthetic. It's really cool. The sound design is great. The sound in the game is fantastic. The music's great. It's got this like horror tension feel to it, but that doesn't really translate into the game. But it does in the menus and everything. It's like you got all this like like audio going off. It's really cool, right? I like that kind of stuff. That's definitely up my street. So I really think that's great. But I can see why that could be a negative for some people. I do think I'm a bit disappointed that you have to play in a group of 3. It would be better if you could sort of play solo. I think that would be a major bonus. I feel like the flow of the game is you will go to a POI, you will do some sort of PvE, you will get some loot, you may get attacked by enemy players, or you may not. You will then move to extraction, and then you will either fight players at the extraction, or fight them on the way to the extraction, or then you extract with whatever loot you've got, and you're basically looking for stuff which is going to upgrade your upgrade path with your various corporations to basically get more inventory space, to then loot more stuff to get more upgrades, which ultimately will make you a stronger runner, to then go back into the game and, I guess, risk your good loot. So this is an issue, right, with the progression of the game, the reason for playing. I mean, again, it's an extraction shooter, and again, this is an alpha, so we don't have any of the, like, sort of high-level, I guess, end game stuff, if I can even call it that. Apparently, other testers have said there's going to be raid content on some of the maps. There's going to be special areas you can unlock. There already is, actually. I mean, I've got a key to the security room insecurity on perimeter, and there's a lot of big loot chests in there. So I think if I go and open that, there might be some really good loot in there for me. But again, there's a danger element, because if I get killed on the way to finding the place, or there's a team in there, they're going to take my key. They'll then be able to open it. Or if I loot the stuff and then I try and get back to extraction and get killed, then they're going to get the stuff. But talking of extraction, I feel like this is a little bit of a... I don't know, like, the extraction... Like, so here's the thing, right? This is kind of going on a wide-arcing sort of ramble about this game. I feel like it's just a little bit too safe at the moment with some of the things it does. Like, the extraction, you just run up to a beacon, click on the beacon, and the beacon has got a timer, and then you teleport off the map. Wouldn't it be better if a dropship came down and you had to, like, fight over the dropship? Like... And it was a signal that you are extracting, so other players will come and fight you. In fact, other players could simply just play around extraction and go, I'm going to wait for ships to come in, and I'm going to, you know, then try and take players on, and it's like creates another fight. That doesn't really happen. Again, it's just a bit simple. It's a bit safe. It's like we click on the thing, we stand here, and then we're gone. I have had fights at extraction. We've killed other teams at extraction, so that does happen. But it does feel a little bit sort of anticlimactic. I just wish they took more risks. Again, going to what I said very early in the video with the hauler, which is like this big land crawler. It would be cool if that moved. You know, like, imagine if that was moving across the map. That would be really cool. Like, it doesn't have to be quick, because, I mean, a level or a map only lasts for 20 minutes, so it could take... You know, they could easily set the speed of this thing. I know this would wreck the design of the map, and it would have to be done earlier on in the design of the game and all of that. So, yeah, I just wish they'd taken more risks. So I think overall, this is a game, and I think it could be something really good. The big question will be if this is going to be able to create a new audience of extraction shooter players. It's done it to me. But I don't think this is going to get your hardcore extraction players, like your Tarkov players, are not going to play this game. Obviously, I've got reservations with things like the aim magnetism, the aim lock. It's it doesn't feel right, although I sort of have kind of just sort of accepted it to some degree, but I don't want it in the game. I mean, you can turn it off, but why would you turn it off? You'd be at such a major disadvantage compared to everyone else. It would not be great. So... maybe we see some changes further down the line. But remember, this is Bungie. Destiny has this kind of system in it, although it's nowhere near as strong on PC. And Destiny is primarily a PvE game, so things are a little bit different there. It's not PvP like this is. Yeah, there's a lot of PvE, but there is also PvP. All right, I'm going to leave my thoughts as that. It's a little bit of a ramble, this video, but it's just I just wanted to get them out there. Like I said, I've played 10 hours of the game. It's currently in... it's offline. The servers have been having some maintenance done to them. And I do want to actually go and play it again. So there is something here. Like, I feel like I want to get in there. I want to carry on upgrading my contracts. And I want to just see what happens. You do also have that sort of ambiguous lore element to the game, where sometimes you get like a random voice message at the start of the game. You'll find things on the map with little bits of obscure lore, and I'm sure all this will get pieced together, and there'll be various special things which can happen and stuff like that, which, you know, I think is cool. It's almost like a Dark Souls kind of lore delivery where you can read into it like what's going to happen. I'm sure there'll be a lot of videos from lore creators breaking all of this down. But I do think there's potential. I really do think there's potential here with this game. But I do feel like it's in alpha when it comes to its gameplay flow. I think its visuals are probably not in alpha because it feels quite complete in that sort of way. I would hope they'd work on things like the exterior portions of the maps, just make them look better because they just don't look that great. But yeah, all right, guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed that. I just, like I said, wanted to put my thoughts together on this. If you enjoyed that, then, you know, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you soon.